The story of Anneliese Michel is infamous. It's a terrifying account of demonic possession that ended after 67 brutal exorcisms and her tragic death. We all know the story that inspired horror films, the one filled with demonic voices, twisted limbs, and pure, supernatural evil. But what if that story, the one we think we know, isn't the whole truth? What if the real horror isn't a battle with some ancient demon, but a perfect storm of undiagnosed mental illness, desperate faith, and fatal neglect? Today, we're looking at the chilling reality of exorcisms that end in tragedy, where faith and fear create the most terrifying aftermath of all. Welcome to the Diabolist's Lab, a place where faith, fear, and forbidden truths collide. Enter if you dare. Exit if you can. The girl before the storm. Before the nightmare began, Anneliese Michel was a normal, happy, and deeply religious young woman living in 1960s Germany. Born on September 21st, 1952, into a devout, almost obsessively strict Catholic family in Bavaria. Her life was one of quiet, routine faith. But that life was shattered when she was just 16. She suffered a violent convulsion, the first terrifying sign that something was deeply wrong. Doctors at a psychiatric clinic diagnosed her with temporal lobe epilepsy, a neurological disorder known to cause seizures, hallucinations, and terrifying personality shifts. For 5 years, they tried to treat her with a variety of medications, including those for schizophrenia, but her condition just got worse. She grew increasingly frustrated with the medical system that seemed to have no answers for her. A turn from medicine to faith. Anneliese's condition spiraled. She started having horrifying visions while she prayed, seeing what she could only describe as the faces of devils. She couldn't stand to be near religious symbols like a crucifix, and started hearing disembodied voices whispering that she was damned and would rot in hell. Her family, watching modern medicine fail her time and time again, became utterly convinced this wasn't a medical issue. It was demonic. They saw a daughter tormented by something beyond science, and they turned to the only power they believed could actually save her: the church. After being rejected at first, with priests insisting she continue medical treatment, a local bishop, Josef Stangl, finally granted them permission for the rite of exorcism in 1975. 2 priests, Father Ernstalt and Father Arnold Renz, were assigned to her case. From that moment on, Anneliese's family stopped all contact with doctors and ceased her medical treatments. The 67 rites of exorcism. What came next was 10 months of absolute hell on earth. Anneliese Michel was forced to endure 67 separate exorcism rituals, some lasting for hours at a time, often twice a week. The things she did during these rites were shocking and meticulously documented. She would bark like a dog for days on end, eat spiders and coal, and speak in guttural, inhuman voices that the priests claimed belonged to Lucifer, Cain, Judas Iscariot, and even Adolf Hitler. As the exorcisms dragged on, her body wasted away. She refused to eat, convinced that starving herself was a form of penance that would help force the demons out. The constant, ritualistic kneeling, hundreds of genuflections a day, broke the bones in her knees. The tragic conclusion. On July 1st, 1976, the war was over. Anneliese Michel died in her sleep. She was only 23 years old. At the time of her death, she was a skeleton, weighing a horrifying 30 kilograms, or about 68 pounds. The official cause of death was severe malnutrition and dehydration. An investigation and trial followed that shocked West Germany and drew intense media interest. In the end, her parents and the two priests were charged and convicted of negligent homicide. The court found that her death was preventable and that they should have forced medical treatment as late as 1 week before she died. Not an isolated tragedy. Anneliese's story is a special kind of horrifying, but it's not unique. This belief that misunderstood behavior is a sign of possession has led to tragedy all over the world. In 2005, in Târnacu, Romania, a young 23-year-old nun named Marisica Irina Cornici died during an exorcism. Her fellow nuns and a priest believed she was possessed after she showed signs of mental illness, later revealed to be schizophrenia. They tied her to a cross, gagged her with a towel, and left her for 3 days without food or water in a cold, damp room. She died of dehydration and suffocation. The priest, who was unrepentant, and the 4 nuns involved were eventually convicted and sent to prison for years. Then there's the devastating case from 2003, when an 8-year-old autistic boy in Wisconsin, Terrence Cottrell Jr., died during a deliverance ritual. Members of his church, including his own mother, held him down on the floor to pray over him. They believed they were casting out the demons they associated with his autism. He died from suffocation, crushed under the weight of the minister who lay on his chest for over 2 hours. These cases force us to stare into a dark space where faith, medicine, and human error collide. The people involved often truly believe they are fighting a spiritual evil, but the result is always real-world, physical harm. The line between religious freedom and deadly neglect becomes terrifyingly thin. So, was Anneliese Michel truly a victim of demonic forces? Or was she the victim of a system that completely failed to understand or treat her very real? The German bishops later retracted the claim that she was possessed, stating she died of malnutrition. What do you think? Was this a supernatural war or a human tragedy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story is still with you, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that haunt us.